Hey everyone. Stephanie and I lost our mojo for quite a while. And so we finally got it back just by playing around in the craft room. And I mean, I made tons of backgrounds just to try to get some mojo. And so finally we got us some mojo. And we've decided that maybe this sharing a card with you all, if you've not got your mojo, that this will inspire you. And the card design we're making today is it could be any design. It's going to be an Easter design for us, but it could be any design, birthday, anniversary, whatever. So I'll let Stephanie talk.
Okay, when we thought about it, and we do lots of intricate cards and everybody's got machines and things like that, then we started thinking about people who maybe were just starting the crafting journey. So we wanted to do a card that looked really good when it was finished, was a little bit special, but it doesn't need die machines or cutting machines. It literally is scoring cardstock and sticking it and the little images you use. And we think the card is really pretty when it's finished. And as Tammy says, it doesn't have to be for Easter. That was just what we chose. And we wanted to do two different ones to show you. Tammy's done a beautiful religious one, and I've done a little bit more, probably for children and that. We wanted to show you the difference you could do, but still have the same card design and how nice it turns out.
All right, so to get started, Stephanie's going to show you how to score the card, what sizes, the measurements, and all. And then when it's time to decorate, I'll come on with her and we will decorate the cards.
Okay, so I'll change my camera over and then we'll get started. And hopefully we'll give you some mojo and see that this is a really easy card to do, but looks really quite nice when it's finished. Okay, so this card is starting off with a piece of good quality, sort of thicker card. So it's a base card. You need that so that it holds the structure when you've got all the little images on it. And the actual base card is 7 inches by 5 inches. And we're going to go through the scoring in a minute, but I'll just tell you the pieces of card that you need. For A4 in the UK or letter size in the US, you would get 2 card bases out of that piece of card. So it's quite an economical one as well. And the other pieces that go on it, they're quite small. So you could actually use scraps or pieces that maybe you've got and think you don't know what to do with. So that's the base. Then the next piece is a small piece, and this measures 3 inches by 2 1/4, which is the top piece here. The next piece, and I'm dropping it on the floor, and the next piece is 5 inches by 2 3/4 inches. And we'll explain, as I say, about the scoring in a minute. And then your final piece is a piece of cardstock that is 8 inches in length and 1 3/4 in width. So I'm going to show you now how to score it, and then you'll be able to see what we're doing. So we're going to start with this piece. Now, if anybody is thinking of getting a scoreboard that they haven't got one, my original scoreboard that I've got is now 16 years old, and it has inches on one side and centimetres on the other. But all those years ago, you didn't do as intricate a card, so it's only got 1/2 inches and inches. And now the more intricate scoreboards, which I've got one now, are much better because they go as low as 1/8 of an inch. So when you're making your cards and you really want to sort of use smaller measurements, if you're looking to buy a scoreboard, look to get one that's got sort of 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. Then it's really much easier than having to start trying to measure it, and then be cutting it sort of without having the measurements to do. But I'm going to use my old one because, as I say, I've had this 16 years, and on this one we only need 1/2 inches. So the very first piece we're going to do the base piece of the card. So the base card is 7 inches in width, so it's going to be scored halfway, which is 3 1/2 inches. And that's all you need to do with your base card. We'll leave that for now. The next piece we're going to do is a small piece that's 3 inches by 2 1/4. Now on every piece of these card pieces, they're scored at 1/2 inch on each side and then halfway in the middle. So this one I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. I'm going to flip it over because it makes it easier and score at 1/2 inch again. And the card piece is 3 inches, so the center of that is going to be 1 1/2 inches. So that's the scoring of that piece done. The next piece I'm going to score is the 5 inch card. Again, it's 1/2 inch on each side. So for easy measurements, I always do it and then flip it over and do the 1/2 inch again on this side. So you've got both two. This is 5 inches. So 1/2 of 5 inches is 2 1/2. Center point again. That's that done. And then the final piece is the 8 inch piece. This one, you've got two options. I didn't put a center score in this, and I'll show you afterwards, and I think Tammy's probably done the same. I have done in the past, but I think it's nice if it's more of a bevel than it is a point. So for this one that's 8 inches long by 1 3/4, I'm only going to score it at both sides at 1/2 inch. Just say, instead of doing it in the center, when it comes to it, you can just go like that. And when this goes on, it just gives a nice little bevel to the card rather than a pointed piece. So literally, that is all the work that needs doing to the card, apart from gluing it and decorating it. So it really is a simple card. So we'll start now and see how we do it. So I'm going to just burnish this, which is the actual back piece. I'll get the score tool and then I can burnish it. And it's not a hard burnish. You don't want to do it where it's really crisp, because when it actually stands up, it's going to sort of stand like that. It's not going to be really sort of a sharp fold. It just needs to be more of a curve. So that's the actual base piece. Now these, if you've got decorating to do before you actually stick it on your card, it's probably a better time to do it. So I'm just going to burnish. Obviously when you've scored, you always burnish to get the finish. So I'll burnish it at the 1/2 inch mark and burnish it into the center. Now I've got, for this little one, I've got 2 little pieces of card that I didn't want it to be plain. So I've got 2 little pieces that I'm going to actually stick on it. And I've got them here. So I'll stick this on and then I'm going to show you how it sticks to the card. I'll just get these. And my glue. Tammy and I always say it's a shame our time differences are so different, because Tammy's 6 hours behind me. So for me now it's 7:15. So what time is it for you, Tammy?
It's 1:15.
So it's middle of the day for Tammy and it's the evening for me. Right, so I'm just doing these are my little pieces, because there is one thing I've actually forgotten to mention. So I'll just stick this on and then I'll tell you. There's just one other piece to tell you about. I've used plain white cardstock for my base, and that means that I'm going to put a layer on it inside to make it look nice. Now, if you wanted to do, and you've got good strong cardstock, you don't have to do it in white. If you've got a patterned cardstock, there would be nothing to stop you using a patterned one, so that you didn't have to put a piece on it in the backing. So mine's white. If that was a patterned card, you wouldn't need to do, but because mine is white, I'm going to put 2 panels on mine at the back here. And I've wrote on the back because it's slightly smaller than, obviously, to leave a little white edge. So this card piece on each side would be 3 1/2 inches. So what I've done is 3 1/4 inches by 4 3/4. So when you stick that on to there, it's going to leave you just a nice little white border the whole way around, which looks really nice. So that's what I'm going to do now. and then we'll stick this on, and then you'll see how it sort of comes together. So let's put this onto here. Okay, so just want to get a nice even border around it so it looks nice. So that's one piece on. And if you notice, I've actually left it a bit more away from there because you've got your fold, so you don't want it to be too flush up to there, because then it makes it awkward folding it. Then we'll do the next one. It really is a pretty card when this is done, and it's so easy to make. So I hope we inspire you to have a go. I can hear Tammy working away. She's doing hers in the background.
Yes.
Try and line them up so you make sure that they're the same at the top and the bottom, so that it looks nice, and it's worth spending that few minutes to just make sure you've got it evened up. That looks about right now. Okay, so that's the actual base of the card done. Now I'm going to start sticking this on, and you can see, so I've actually done this. There's the 1/2 inch, and that's what you're going to stick to your card. And when we put the glue on and we stick it down, the actual centerpiece that's scored is going to actually go there, so that you're making absolutely sure it goes to the top, but your score line in the middle of that one matches the score line on your card, and then you've got it even. So we'll do that, and I'll glue this, and say it's really easy to put together. And then when we've done the basic like this, we can do all the pretty decorating. Okay, so this is, so I've glued it just on the little 1/2 inch tabs. Roll those down, line it up so it's flush with the top and lined up with the score lines, and then hold that down. Tapped over it a few minutes and make. You could use tape, but I honestly think glue's the best thing, because it gives a nice strong hold, and you can move it around better if you just don't get it right. But so it's flush with the top, and it's even with there where the scores are. So that's completely done. So now when you look, it's coming together. We've got this little piece like that, which fits on. Okay. Now we're going to do exactly the same with this one, which is the bigger one. So it's score it. Nice crisp scores for these, because these are the ones that fold. Score your 1/2 inch tab and your 1/2 inch tab again. Once you've done that, let's put your glue on, only on the 1/2 inch. Right, and then here you're going to put this on here, and you're going to look roughly where you want it. I want probably about center of that. Again, lining it up there, bringing the tabs in, the 1/2 inch tabs in. Once it's lined up and you know you've got it right, you could have decorated this before, but I'm going to decorate it after, because it does lay flat, so it's not going to cause a problem. It was just these little ones I didn't want to not decorate, because once this was on, it would make it more difficult. So you see now it's coming together. And then the very last one, and you're perhaps wondering, well, why have you done this yellow and you've done this white? Well, I didn't see the point of wasting white card when I got lots of scraps of white card. I didn't want to waste the yellow, because when it's done, it's going to have grass on it. So it wouldn't matter what colour this was. So if you've got scraps of card, you can use those. So to say, this one's not going to be folded in the middle. It's just going to have these tabs which are the 7-inch tabs, are going to be burnished down, and then they're going to be glued exactly like the rest of it. Just make absolutely sure I've got that level and it's right. So making sure that I've measured it up properly when I measured 8 inches, which I did. So the 8 inches, and take the two scores off, and then that's actually perfect on there. It makes the line. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to glue this. Before I do, I'll just give it a little bit of a bevel. And shape my glue. And I think that'll be okay. Line that up again. Making sure you've got them level. And it's flush with the bottom as well. So that I think that's why glue's probably better, because you can really just sort of manipulate it and move it until you make absolutely sure you've got it in the right place. I'll give it a squash to make sure it's down for a few minutes. So while we're going through that, I'll just go back through the sizes again, and then Tammy and I'll decorate. So you're starting off with a nice solid piece of cardstock that measures 7 inches by 5 inches in depth, and it's scored at 3.5 inches. You've then got a little piece which is 3 inches by 2.25, and it's scored in at each side 1/2 inch and down the center at 1.5. The next piece is 5 inches by 2.75. It's scored at 1/2 inch on either side, and it's scored at the 2.5, which is the center. And then the final piece is 8 inches in length by 1.75 in depth, scored in the 1/2 inches, but just beveled. So now that's going to be your card, and you can start decorating it. So it folds completely flat to go in a 5x7 envelope. Unless you do something that's really lots of flowers and it's quite deep, you could always make a little box for that. And at some stage, if you want, we can show you how to make a box for it at another time. So Tammy, if you want to come back as well, and then we can both see what we're doing.
Okay, as you can see, I've put mine together to be at the same point as Stephanie, and then we're gonna start to decorate.
Okay, well I've got grass for mine, but what I've done, it's obviously a little bit longer, which I wasn't bothered because I'm going to cut it off, but I wanted to do it not just one layer of grass. I wanted to do 2, so that and I'm offsetting them slightly so that they don't follow exactly the same line. So it'll be glued on, because I've got some little rabbits, and I want my rabbits to hide in the grass as well as some on the front. So I'm doing 2 layers. But I'm going to start with this layer first, and which is higher up, and then I shall do a lower one after. So I don't want to glue it all up here and find that I've glued where I don't need to glue it above where it's going to be stuck. So rather than do that, I'm going to glue the white cardstock so that I know I've not got glue higher up than where I need it to be. So I'm just going to put my glue on here like this.
I'm attaching 2 of my crosses. And you can find images all over the internet if you type in free PNGs. And also, a lot of our stuff has come from Creative Fabrica. You can find almost anything you need there.
Yeah, it is brilliant, isn't it? There's such a diversity of things.
I did use a die to cut my cinnamon out, and I left it in the die because it kind of falls apart if you don't. And I cut it using double-sided adhesive so that it would just stick straight to my cardstock.
I'm cutting the base of mine off because I didn't realize when I'd done it I've got a white edge on the bottom. Now the white I like in between the grass bits, but I didn't want white at the bottom, so I've just cut it off with my hands there. And I just noticed, right, I'm just going to get a piece of scrap cardstock. If ever you glue anything down and you think, oh crumbs, it's not glued quite as much as you would have liked it to have glued, I've got a little bit here that's protruding out a bit. If you get a piece of cardstock and just put a little bit of glue on it for any bits that you haven't got, just tuck it underneath and rub it, and that'll stick it down, because I've just noticed there are a couple of pieces there that I haven't glued. And then I'll just hold it in place. Right, that's that. And then I'm going to lay the next one on. Those flowers are really pretty, Tammy, that you've got on yours there.
Oh, thank you. It was one big piece and I just chopped it up to fit.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Thank you.
And as Tammy said before, the one good thing about this design, it's really easy to do, looks really effective, but it's so versatile. You know, there isn't a card design that wouldn't look really good with it. And it goes flat, so it fits in an envelope, which I think is brilliant. It can go through your mail. Our postage has just gone up this week, so I ended up buying a lot of stamps so that I've got them for Christmas, because it's gone up 15 pence for a first class and 7 pence for a second class stamp. So I've made sure I've got lots of them in ready for when Christmas comes. Is your mailing expensive there, Tammy? And
I'm not sure it's really expensive. I know if I send Stephanie a card and there's not a whole lot of bulk, but there's some, because I like dimension, it's usually around $2 to send it to England. And I think here in the States, if the last couple of cards I sent was less than $1 to send. And like I said, I never make the standard or the US standard size, the A2 size. I never make those cards. I pretty much always make 5x7s or 5x5s, 5.5x5. And sometimes I actually make a size that's just unique to me, because if it looks right, cut down some, I'll cut it down. Or if it looks right, bigger, I'll make it bigger. So, yeah. You know.
That is the one good thing about when you craft, you can do things different sizes that suit you and make your own boxes or envelopes to make them fit, can't you?
Yes.
Now, Tammy and I have both used a cutting machine to cut our images out, but quite honestly, a lot of this, if you haven't got one, you can fussy cut them. I mean, even grass in the past, before I got a machine, I would use green cardstock and just use my scissors and cut sort of, you know, lines through it to work. So if you're only just starting out, you don't have to have them. You know, if you can fussy cut them, but having a machine's brilliant. And I've got some little carrots I've got rabbits, and I've got some little carrots for my rabbits to eat.
Sweet.
Right. The one thing I haven't got out, I'll just have to get out. I need some dimensionals, because one of my rabbits is sitting at the front. I've had to get some dimensionals out, and then he can sit there. Right. That's better. Cut these and then.
And I was watching a lady, and I think her name is Christina Stokes. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And when these doves that I have, I've got them off of Creative Fabrica. But to give them a little life, I've watched her take the same thing we use to make our flowers, and they're really inexpensive. You can get a whole set of them on Amazon, and just take the back of the image, and I just kept rubbing to make it more lifelike. So I don't have to put no dimensions on it. It just,
Just brings it up.
Yeah, it does.
And it all adds to it, doesn't it, to make it look.
It does.
Mm-hmm. I'm putting dimensional. I've got my little rabbit, and I'm putting dimensionals on this one because this is going to be stood on the outside of the card, so he needs to stand up a little bit. A bit lower down. I want it to show. It's a good job I've got a poker tool to get these off, because they are a nuisance. Sometimes they don't come off properly. Right, hopefully that's done now. Right, let's have a look and see. I think this little rabbit's going to sit up on top of this card. And so, are you doing anything special for Easter, Tammy? Do you go to your family or anything?
Yes, I'll go to my mom's on Easter, and the grandkids will be there, and just enjoy the day together.
We can all get together. Yeah.
It's funny because we make the same card, but each time you make it, it could be just a tad bit different.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely. They never turn out twice the same, do they?
No.
And I think it's not the actual making of the card that takes the time, because this doesn't take long at all once you've sort of got, but it's the designing of them. It's trying to find a design, isn't it? I think that's the thing that takes the time when you design a card. And I think that's when you lose your mojo. That's when it's nice to see what somebody else has done, and it just gives you, you may not do that card, but it gives you an idea, and it gives you a starting point where you think, oh yeah, I could do such a thing, and it just starts you off. So hopefully this can help. Right, put a little Easter egg on mine there, so that'll stand up. And some more little rabbits hiding in the grass. And if I hadn't have done it with 2 layers of the grass, I wouldn't have been able to do it, them hiding behind. So it's just, and when I first did it, I only did 1 layer of grass, and I thought, oh no, it would be a lot nicer if it had 2. I can just put the extras in. Right. So I can decorate this now, but if we'd have been not showing this, I would have decorated that before I even stuck it down. But for time and thinking people won't want to be stuck watching us for ages and not knowing what we're doing, I thought I'll do it, and then it's actually right for going on. So let's have a look, and I'll put an Easter egg there.
And I have been known to get one put together and not like something and pull it off and stick something else. And
I think, do you know, I think we all do that, don't we? You think, oh, that's not right. But I don't know about you, Tammy, but sometimes I can spend absolutely ages doing a card, and then when I finished it, think, oh, I don't like that. That's awful. And then another time you can just start doing it, and it just seems to turn out right, and it hasn't taken any length of time at all.
That's right.
Squish my little legs down. And I'm just looking, my eggs, they look like they're purple, but they're actually pink. So it just shows the cameras showing a different colour, isn't it? And I've got a little ribbon for mine. I'm going to pop a little ribbon on it, on the side, just to give it that little bit more. I don't know whether to put it there or shall I put it on top of the eggs? No, I think I'm going to put it on top, so I need some tape. Oh, and I don't know whether anybody uses the red liner tape, which I do quite a lot on construction-y things, this. But when you take it off, it's full of static and it sticks to your fingers and you can't get it off. And I saw somebody on a craft program on our television a while ago, and she said only by chance she'd found that if you use a microfiber cloth, and as you take it off, put it on that, it takes all the static and it doesn't stick to your finger. It just comes off straight away. And I tried it and it does actually work.
Cool.
Because do you ever use it, Tam? You take it off and then it sticks to you and you can't release it. It's like full of static. But this way, right, so that's that. Take this off and stick it on a microfiber cloth and it's off straight away. Right, and then we're going to get I've got some little Nouveau drops as well here, so I'm just going to finish it off with Nouveau drops on the top of it. I'll put 3 down here.
I'm playing with glue dots.
Pardon?
I'm playing with glue dots and they're sticking to my fingers.
And my card, I don't know how you're doing, Tammy, but my card's finished.
Just one of my flowers fell off.
No,
stick it back on and then I'm finished.
No, I'm telling a lie, I'm not. I've missed something off it, an important piece.
A little bit more glue.
You okay?
Mm-hmm. I'm just needing to add just a little bit more of the glue dot to make my ribbon stay on.
I've just got to put some glue on this and then the Happy Easter's on.
Fluff my flowers.
And exactly how you said about doing how you do something different each time.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten this. This should actually have been on the middle bit, and it's I've ended up putting some dewdrops on. So my Happy Easter is going to have to go on the top bit. So I'll just glue that down. So it's slightly different than the last card I did.
Well, mine's different. I couldn't.
Is yours as well?
Yeah, it's different. I think I made my heel a little bit taller this time than, in fact, I know I did. I should have cut it down more. Or, it could have been cut down more.
Yeah.
And, I still might. I might take mine off and cut my heel down.
Let me have a look, because before you do, turn it around.
Can you see?
Turn it the other way around so I can see the right end up and see. And come down a little bit. Oh, I don't know, Tammy, that looks beautiful. No, that looks beautiful. I love those flowers on the front as well. That is gorgeous. And you cross with the purple ribbon. That is stunning. And mine's finished as well. So I think, so you're finished, are you, Tammy?
I am.
When you look, in all seriousness, they're two totally different cards, but they're both lovely. You put yours up the other way.
Yeah, there we go.
Turn it round the other way, then we can see it the right way around. Yeah, beautiful. So you can see that they're totally different, but both fun cards, really easy to make. And once you've got all your images cut out, takes very little cardstock. And I say these are only small pieces, so you probably look, if you are a crafter, that you've got scraps and that, and you could soon make them.
Here's the first one I made, and the heel's not quite so big.
That's lovely as well, but they're both beautiful.
Thank you. I love yours too.
And mine is, again, I meant to put the Happy Easter on, forgot, put the dewdrops. So the actual little Easter thing is on that one, but now it's on the top.
So that's okay. It looks good either way.
Yeah. So we putting our cameras back the right way around now?
Yeah, we can. Okay, come on back, Steph.
Yeah, I'm bringing mine back now as well.
Okay.
So I hope you've enjoyed that.
Yes. Go ahead, Steph.
I think we've enjoyed doing it, haven't we? We've enjoyed making them, and we hope that you've given somebody else a little bit of a mojo. And
we could hold our cards up this way, maybe, and they'll get shot. Oops. And the difference in it and the first one I made, which I tend to like the first one best because of the fact the heel's not quite so big, so it's not so busy. And I might cut that one down. What do you think?
Let me have a look at the two together. They're both beautiful. Yeah, yes, they're both beautiful. Yes, I think the one with the slightly lower heel. So what about mine then, Tammy? This is the one I've just done now. Mm-hmm. I forgot to put this one, and that's the one I did. Whoops.
They're both beautiful. I wouldn't change anything about either one of them.
So we hope we've given people some inspiration.
Yeah.
To make a card.
Definitely. And so hopefully it won't be but maybe a week, and we'll come back and do another card. Let us know in the comments below if you like it. And also, Patty will have links to Creative Fabrica, where we got most of the designs from. And she'll also have the measurements to make the card. All right. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you for watching us. Bye.